Hey, it's Chrissy and Amanda.
Two girls from Saskatchewan, Canada, living the Reiki life while working the 9 to 5.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. It's Chrissy and Amanda here, and it's episode 28 today. And it is in the midst of summer. Well, the solstice is coming up, but it sure feels like summer here. And we were both just talking before we started the podcast here about being outside and just your hands in the dirt and your feet in the grass. And it's just such a good feeling. Like winters are so long here. It just takes us so long to get to summer. And when it's here, it's like I just want to enjoy every day outside as much as I can. And you spent the whole day outside today doing things.
Yeah, so Todd and I were outside and we planted all of our flowers today, which hopefully it doesn't get too cold for them. It better not. So yeah, we were outside and our son was outside with us all day. And when we got him outside, I was like gonna put sandals on him just because we do have like some spots that have rocks and stuff and whatever else. And Todd was like, absolutely not. He's like, don't you put sandals on him? And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like here we are both barefoot. I'm like ankle deep in dirt. And then, yeah, Bo just rocked it. He played in the water and he's eating the dirt.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa, yeah, get more grounded than you right now, son.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, he just played in the mud and the dirt and yeah, just bebopped in the backyard the whole day. It was awesome. We are all so exhausted. It's going to be so good. I hope he sleeps well tonight.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You too.
Yeah, when you're outside all day, I find like that is when I have the best sleep. And same with like my dog too. It's just, it's a fresh air. It's being around the trees. Like my whole property is surrounded by trees. So it's just, you're breathing in all that fresh like oxygen and just the energy of the trees. I just freaking love it. And yeah, I was outside pulling weeds today and I was in barefoot too. And, you know, you step on a few pointy things, but you're like, oh, whatever. I'm not putting shoes on, like not a chance. And I was actually playing badminton with my friend's kids yesterday, and they both had shoes and socks on and they were looking at me weird. Like, why are you in bare feet? Where's your shoes? And I was like, so then they wanted to be like me. So they took their shoes off and they were just in socks. And they're like, oh, this is weird. I was like, okay. And then one of them took their socks off and they're like, oh, I don't like this. I don't like the grass, like the feeling. They're like, this feels weird. And I just thought like as a child, I always had bare feet. Like my feet were, what did Carlene and I call it? Like huckleberry and Finn feet. Like they were so rough. Like it was just like you could walk on a gravel road and they'd be fine because you just build up that like callus almost over time. And I was just like, man, these kids are getting robbed of like some grounding energy, you know, because like the one kid's pretty hyper and I just feel like it could like center her a bit. But I don't know, maybe it's just a different thing, or maybe they spray their lawn with weed killer. I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't want to get involved, but
yeah, you never know, I guess. But no, I like being barefoot. We could buy the grounding sheets for our bed, but being outside, feet in the grass and the dirt, that's ultimately the best thing, right?
It is. Like there's nothing that can replicate that. And even when I was in the garden, like pulling weeds and just like my hands in the dirt and your dirt under your fingernails, it's just like the best feeling. It's just a connection right to Mother Earth. And it just feels so good.
It does. So I forgot to actually mention this with our astrology update, that we have the summer solstice coming up on June 20th. So yeah, sorry about that, gang, but I guess this is being released June 15th. So you've still got time if you wanted to make any summer solstice preparations here. And for those of you who don't know, so the summer solstice marks the longest day of the year. So that's when the Earth's orbit around the sun reaches its greatest distance from the equator. So a lot of people like to celebrate, like bringing in the sun, bringing in those longer days, paying like homage to the sun. And Shaman Durek has this really cool list of like crystals that he likes to take out during this time of the solstice. So the best stones to carry during this time are citrine, which is really fitting, right? The sun, citrine, for warmth and joy, a garnet for passion and energy, carnelian to take the energy of the sun into the body, and tiger's eye to bring strength and motivation. So if anyone's into crystals and you want to charge those. And he also has this really cool ritual for calling in the power, energy, and fun of the new season. And I'm actually going to post this in our show notes or maybe on our Instagram when we release the episode. And it's you draw a circle and a dot in the center to represent the sun. So you would ultimately do this outside. And hopefully you would have group of people, right? Community always coming together. But if you're by yourself, that's cool too. So you put 4 candles in each direction of the circle. Okay, so you want to face south. And then behind you towards the north, place everything from which you are walking away from. These can be written down or represented by objects. In front of you, towards the south, place everything that is joining with you in power. And to the left of you in the east, place everything you want to learn and manifest in your life. And then once all the items are in a place, you are going to light the candles in the order of north, south, east, and then west. And then after they're all lit, then you're going to say these words. Power of the sun, we now are one. Shine forth all that is to come. Release all that is done. Now bring in the fun for everyone. And yeah, I might try this out. I kind of I like the idea of just having a ritual like this for the solstice.
I love that. And it's so funny you mentioned Shaman Derek, because I actually brought his book out today. I was going to flip through it again. And the thing I love about him is his rituals are simple, but they're really there's a lot of intention behind them and they're really impactful. So yeah, that is awesome. I really like that. And I have all those crystals too.
Yeah, so do I. So do I. Yeah. And then actually the full moon, which will be our first full moon in summer, actually, is going to be on June 21st in Capricorn. So I kind of like that heightened energy of just both things together. So you might even have an extra bang when you're doing this ceremony because you'll be harnessing that full moon energy, right, with that summer solstice. So definitely take advantage.
Yeah. And at the very least, just spend as much time as you can outside that day. Just feeling the sun rays on your face.
Yeah, they said start your day with sun gazing, but that's 4 a.m. and end your day with sun gazing. I'm like, oh, I don't think I could manage both of those things or either of them actually, but I have good intentions.
Yeah.
But yeah, doubtful that that'll actually happen.
No, maybe one morning I can get up and watch it because the sunrise is just outside, in an open field behind me. So I can see it all, which is really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm. It's a good spot. Yeah. All right. So should we get in today's episode?
Yeah.
So we talked about dedicating a whole episode to cord cutting. So that's what today's episode is about. We have lots of experiences we wanted to share and some tips to share with everyone. So yeah, let's get into it.
Mm-hmm. And we're, of course, going to bring Reiki in and what we do during Reiki sessions and tying that all in together, of course.
Yes. Okay, so I thought to start off the episode and explain what exactly cords are. I have this book by Doreen Virtue. It's called Angel Medicine. And I really like the way she explains cords. So I thought I would read what she wrote in the book about it. And then we could have a discussion about whether you agree with it or what you think about it. So I wanted to share it with everyone. All right. So this is her words. When we have fear-based attachments to a person or an object, we form spiritual leashes to keep the person or object from leaving or changing. These leashes look like surgical tubing and they grow larger as a function of the length and intensity of the relationship. So the larger cords are to parents, siblings, and other long-time intense relationships. The cords are hollow tubes and energy runs back and forth between the attached persons. These are fear-based cords which are always unhealthy and based upon dysfunction. They have nothing to do with the love or the healthy part of the relationship. Cutting cords isn't abandoning or divorcing a person, it's releasing the unhealthy part of the relationship. Etheric cords are also unrelated to the silver cord, which attaches the soul to the body. Not sure about that. Have you heard about that before?
Oh, cords releasing from the soul to the body?
Yeah.
No, I've
No,
actually never heard of that.
I haven't heard of that
Interesting.
either. Yeah. Yeah, the love and silver cord can't be accidentally severed. Okay, well, that's good to know. Can't cut the wrong cord here. It's like the blue and yellow wire.
Yeah, totally.
So you're safe there. Okay. Let's say you have a cord attached to a friend or relative who's feeling depressed or needy. That person will begin draining energy from you like siphoning fuel at a gas station. You'll feel tired without knowing why. No amount of caffeine, exercise, or sleep will be able to revive your energy if this source is etheric cord draining. I firmly believe that chronic fatigue syndrome stems from people being drained of energy through etheric cords. Well, that's interesting. Many people I've worked with have regained their energy levels just through using this simple method of cutting cords. If the person you're etherically attached to becomes angry, their anger energy will come tumbling through the etheric cord straight into your body and your chakras. This can result in a physical pain that seems to have no cause and which is unresponsive to treatment. So that's why, these are my words now, but I was just going to say, like, that is why cord cutting is so, so important. And people who are professional helpers, such as teachers, counselors, and healers, often have a lot of cords attached to their students and patients. The same is true with individuals who are always helping needy friends and relatives. So it's important to cut cords after every session of helping someone or whenever you feel physical pain or lethargy without any apparent reason. Cords can grow back if the relationship resumes with fear mingled in it. New cords are thinner, though, so less energy can be drained from you or tossed at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say correct. Like I would say, I agree.
Yeah, I just thought she kind of like put it in a nutshell about like what exactly a cord is and what can happen when it attaches. Because it was, if you've never heard of it before, it's nice to start like from the ground up and explain exactly what it is.
Yeah, definitely. And she made a really good point. I had a client actually who was scared to cut a cord with somebody because she thought it was just going to like completely cut them off, kind of a thing. And so she explained that well too, just saying, no, you're just releasing the unhealthy parts, like the unhealthy boundaries to that person, just setting that back, which is good. You should do that. You're not cutting them all out entirely. So that's really good too to explain.
Yeah, I think so too. It would be scary to think like, oh, I don't want to cut them off completely. Like, I still love them, but I find this part is unhealthy. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And like sometimes you will find that you keep having people coming up into your awareness and you just can't shake them off. So sometimes that could be an indicator that you need to cut your cords with that particular person. This really actually happened during the full moon in April that we had with Christy and I, which actually really prompted this episode. We did get questions on it, but we were like, we both got hit hard in the full moon in April. And why are all these people coming into my awareness? It's like,
Yes.
okay, I have cords. I need to cut them.
Yep. And like the cord that needed to be cut was from like 16 years ago. Like, how long? This little cord was just hanging out for that long. And yeah, I don't know. Like, it obviously wasn't like siphoning a lot of energy from me, but there was still like a tiny, like I almost picture it like a little wire connecting us energetically that just needed to be snipped and then move on.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like that annoying little like splinter you get in your skin. You know, it's just like
it's
it's
there.
not really doing damage, but it's there and I can feel it. It's annoying.
It's annoying. Yep. Well, even like when people come into your awareness, I had a chat with a friend and we kind of had like a misunderstanding through text, and I feel her aware, like her coming into my awareness. I can feel this cord coming in, and it's not like a happy one. And it's just like time, like I got to snip that. I got to get rid of it because I know that energy is not mine. Like, she's popping into my head, and then I get angry. So it's like, this is a clear sign that there's a cord attaching, and she's sending that energy to me.
Oh, yeah. Good
Yeah.
awareness. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That takes practice, though.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does.
But it's a good place to start, and just to have that awareness when you just think like, oh, maybe there is a cord attaching. And then we can talk about what to do if you think that's what's happening. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, cords can attach to you in everyday life, just like I talked about how I had this misunderstanding with a friend, and here we go, we got a cord attached. And you have something to share about this as well.
Yeah. So when I'm having coffee with a friend who I felt has really like dumped on me during our coffee date, or maybe they were even a little rude or negative towards me, it just left me not feeling very awesome. I make sure to like clear my field of them and cut my cords with them so they aren't lingering in my field. And it helps me not think about it all day. So I would visualize the cord cutting or my energy pushing theirs out and mine becoming like whole again. You may need to practice this even if you are in the middle of an argument with your spouse or that friend or family member. I know if things are getting like too heated, it needs to just be a good idea to just kind of take a step back and like get regrounded and draw the energy back in and let things cool off and cut those cords. Like I heard a really good expression once, it's strike where the iron is cold. So clarity comes into me better when I'm not getting wrapped up in the emotions, and that might not even be mine. So I just like to, okay, you know what? Let's just each walk away, breathe. I'm going to cut my cords from you so I can have my own feelings back, and then we can like come back together. And it's like, you always will. I mean, if you want to, but if you do, you'll come back, and you'll come back stronger than if you were just like beating a dead horse when you're fuming.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I always leave a situation if I get too heated. I go for a walk, just calm down, and I feel like I come back with a clearer mind. That's like the best thing you can do. Well, for myself, I find. Yeah. And I used to work in like an exhausting environment, like full of emotions and toxicity. And I'd get into my car after work and I would just be emotionally depleted. Like somebody like beat me up and like sucked me dry of like all my resource energy. Like my light was so dim. And I was like, oh, there's something I got to do. And of course, I went into like protecting my energy and like that whole thing. But there was another piece to protecting myself was I created a small ritual when I got into my car at the end of the day. And I would go through the day and be like, oh, right, I had this conversation with this lady. And then she dumped on me about her ex-boyfriend and la, 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 you know, because people love dumping on empaths. It's like they can sniff you out and they just dump it all on you. But so I would go over the day and then I would just cut all my cords from all those people. So it was like leaving that energy at work and then driving home without it. And I felt like that really helped me not absorb as much energy from all these people that I was around every single day and just absorbing and creating cords. And yeah, it was just that awareness that came through that, really helped me.
Yeah, I do the same thing when I'm driving home from work, especially if it's been one of those like days when everyone around me, maybe it was that full moon in Sagittarius where everyone was just extra spicy. And it's like, okay, nope, this is enough. Cutting all those cords, washing it all off me. I agree. It's such a good practice just to do while you're driving home.
Yeah. And it takes like 2 seconds. And if you're present and you have a lot of intention behind it, I feel like it's powerful.
Same. It is.
And another thing I wanted to talk about is you can actually attach a cord to a physical object. So when I was addicted to my phone, I felt a cord attaching to me to my phone. And I was like, whoa, this is not good. So I would have to even go in and cut that cord because I don't want anything, whether it's a physical object or a friend or family member. It's like my energy is mine. This is my reserve. I don't want it leaking anywhere else. And even in this book that I read from at the beginning, Doreen Virtue's book, just side note about her, I know not everybody agrees with her, but I like her old work. Like I still believe there's a lot of value in her old work. I don't really know what she's up to now, but I have a lot of her old books that I still refer to. Do you have any thoughts on her?
No, not
No.
really. I mean, I know she kind of went through a shift and kind of did some disclaiming of her work, didn't she? But I don't
Yeah.
know a ton about, I don't know anything she's doing now either, but I have read her books and I think I even have a couple decks maybe of hers. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I do. My
That angel
angel,
one. Yeah.
yeah, is actually Doreen Virtue. Yeah, I'm not too sure what happened there, but I always just like to, whatever resonates, I'm going to keep, and whatever doesn't, I just toss away.
Yeah. That's a great way to be. And just because somebody
Mm.
said it doesn't mean it's the be all and end all, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I got a little off topic there. But what I wanted to talk about is she talked about in this book that you can even have an energy cord attached to, say, a house or a car, or like even a smaller object. Say you're trying to sell your house and it won't sell. It's because you have an energetic cord attached to it. And that energy is going to be off-putting for somebody else. They're going to feel like it's not their house. Like, it's like a whole rabbit hole you actually could go down, because with a physical object, you create a bond with it, and especially a house. Like, you do everything in your house, and your car, you spend a lot of time in your car too. So of course there's going to be some kind of attachment there. So I thought that was interesting.
That is super interesting. I think about all the people, who maybe don't want to sell something and or else they've had like a big history with it. That's a great idea. I mean, might as well try it. Just cut your cords with it and
Yeah,
see if
and
that helps.
I think, thinking about it is like, remember my cabin? I sold it last year,
Mhm.
and Troy and I put so much work into that cabin. It was just freaking amazing, but it just didn't work out to keep it. It didn't align with our lifestyle the way it is now. And Troy's works a lot in the summer, so he couldn't enjoy it. But I've been thinking about that cabin nonstop lately. So I am going to cut my cord with it and see if that helps.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you would be because it's summer. So it's like I would go to the lake
Yeah.
normally and
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It was a fun place. Good times.
yeah, for sure.
And we did touch on like not all cords are bad cords and all need to be severed and cut and thrown away. Like, for example, I have a cord from my heart to like my dog's heart, and like that is a healthy cord. It's not, we're not sucking energy from each other. That's like a love cord. Like when I picture it, it's like glowing white and it's like a healthy cord.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Or like with my parents or my son or my spouse. That's like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
those are healthy cords.
Yeah.
Another really good way that I was thinking about if people want to like cut cords or if they're in a situation, say you're in a coffee date or something and you're just like, you're at work even, and you're like, whoa, what is going on? Like these emotions aren't mine. Tapping. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of tapping, but this is a really good one. So again, like, and this is really easy. You can do this when you're driving home, or if you're even at your desk, you can just secretly start tapping. So, especially if you're empathic, you're going to be picking up, you're really susceptible to be picking up a lot of energy from other people, especially if they're dumping on you. So, tapping or EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, is to be used so you can just tap on parts of the body to release the emotions that aren't yours. So I like to connect where the emotion is being stored. So whether it be my heart or my stomach, third eye, and then I say something to effect like, this isn't mine. And I'm tapping that area. This isn't mine. I feel secure and happy today. Like, and I just do that on repeat till I feel that release. It's almost like I almost feel like this is a really good Reiki move, right? Especially if you're attuned and you have that Reiki in your hands, you can just like almost like tap that chakra and let that release out. And I just do this until I start feeling better. There's a ton of research on EFT tapping. So you can Google it and you can do this if you get bad anxiety, stress, phobias. There's one for everything. And I even use this to tap away limiting beliefs from when I'm manifesting. So there's actual pressure points that you can start. It's like the side of the hand and then the top of the head, the sides of your face, your under your eyes, your upper lip, and then your chin, and then your what are these, Christy?
Like
My
your
collarbone.
clavicle. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, collarbone.
Yeah. You tap both of these and then you repeat it. So like these pressure points are important. So Google EFT tapping because we don't do video with these. And thank God we're not doing video after being outside all day.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
we
can
do
just
look
tap
like we've been in
you
the
just tap
bush.
those pressure points. Yeah. And your hand and the top, and then your sides of your eyes underneath, and your lip and chin. Anyways, yeah. And you keep saying stuff like that, like this isn't mine. I am happy and healthy. This isn't my emotion. And then you'll start feeling better. You really will. So that's also a really good way to help release when you're trying to cut cords.
Yeah, that one is amazing. I actually have a book on tapping. I went down the rabbit
Oh,
hole of it at one point, and I remember teaching Troy like how to do it, and it works. Like it's subtle, but I find like if you're consistent with it, just like anything, it definitely helps. And I
yeah.
watch, I don't know if there's one on Netflix about it, but like there's all these people with lots of anxiety and stress that we're able to release, and yeah, it's a good little technique.
Yeah. And not everybody is visual. So it's good to have like something more concrete that feels like, oh, I'm actually doing something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
hmm So we also wanted to talk about cutting cords like during a Reiki session. So this also came up really interestingly in that full moon, and I wanted to like share what came up and then what I did and what actually kind of channeled in to do with cutting cords. So when I have a session, I almost see myself completely opening up my field, opening up to my client's field, and then almost like our auras are kind of connecting in, or an energetic cord is being made that connects us. So when I have a session and I'm doing like a past life healing, for example, we're both going into the vision together. So we are oftentimes seeing the same thing, which, as you and I have had, which is really fun.
Hmm.
And I'm not just guiding you through it, but I'm there and I'm actually witnessing it as well. So this causes our energetic fields to mix together. So I always cut my cords with my clients after every Reiki session. I call upon Archangel Michael to come in and cut my cords with so and so, their name. And I visualize him taking his big sword and cutting these ties that have grown between us. And I do this 3 times. So the act of visualizing this is key here, I find. And another good one that I've heard of that I like is drawing your energy field back into you. So I think about my auric field just returning back to my body. So still staying a comfortable distance, like 3 feet out from my body-ish, which is where your aura should kind of be. But I like to think of it like just drawing back and then bouncing the other person's energy out. And then I just strengthen that outer layer with a protective shield around it as well.
Yeah, I find that practice to be very beneficial too. I don't even know where I learned that from, but after a Reiki session, I will be like, I, Christy, call all my energy back home in the highest vibration. And I picture like all my energy coming back to me. And even I would do that when I was lying in bed at the end of the day as well. Like if I felt like my energy was scattered everywhere, I'll be like, you know what? I need to come it or call it all back home. And it's just like I picture just gathering all these things and just like bringing it all back to me because this is mine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one, especially when you're lying in bed. I kind of like I check in. I'm like, have I done that? Did I do that? So
Yep.
yeah, it's great.
Spiritual maintenance.
Yeah, exactly. So I helped a client cut cords with certain people during a Reiki session. So sometimes when I'm doing Reiki, I'll start actually pulling out a cord, which almost feels like a big gym rope out of one of the chakras. And I'm literally removing a cord from them. I then singe the ends so it can't reattach, and then I put it into the earth for Mother Gaia to absorb. So the heart space and the sacral are common areas for this, I find. I find past relationships can get stored in those 2 spots for sure. I also did a new cutting cords exercise with a client that just came to me intuitively that I wanted to share. So we went into the chakra where the cord was, and we went into their energetic room where this person was still housing. So we could see on the walls all their memories together, even felt out the vibe of this person was holding. And then we called in Archangel Michael to help heal the energy between them. So sometimes we had to heal the person as well because I could see this trauma in them while we were tuning in as well and kind of explaining like why they are the way they are. And I would get the client too to address like anything that she or he wanted to say to this person before we kind of cut the cords and just really kind of seal everything up before we cut it. Like any loose ends, if you need to say it, you can either say it out loud to me or say it quietly to yourself as you're visualizing it. And then I would call in Archangel Michael and to cut the ties that have been tethering them together. And with this, I would say, with this sword, I cut this cord and I send it away with unconditional love and light. And then I would say this on repeat. With this sword, I cut this cord and I send it away with unconditional love and light. And I would get my client to visualize taking Archangel Michael's massive sword and just keep cutting this huge rope or whatever it looks like to you, to keep saying this until they completely cut and verify that it's been cut and completely broken the cord. I like using a visualization of like Christ conscious light as well, that white light, because it's super powerful. Even if you're not a big like Catholic person, Jesus is still incredible, and what he was is incredible. And that Christ conscious light is super powerful. So I like to even get my clients to envision that as well. And then once things feel complete, we could then leave the room. So I make sure, of course, I check in with my client. Like client will maybe sigh or give a kind of like a release that way that we know everything has lifted. And then I get Archangel Michael to seal the room with white light and fill it with love on all the good things. We always want to send things away with love, healing any resentments or hurts in the room, not carrying it with us anymore. And yeah, that was something that came to me during a Reiki session, and I really liked it. And then I ended up doing that in a meditation as well for myself because things were coming up. And I thought, okay, I need to do this same thing. And I found it actually, I could totally tell a difference. And I really liked it.
Yeah. I love that. That is amazing. Like I like the visual of like going into the room and seeing all the memories together and even that person being there. Yeah, that is really powerful. And that's how I cut my cords as well. Like during Reiki sessions or for myself is I call in Archangel Michael and his sword, because his sword is flawless. Like it will always cut the cord, I find. I don't think I've ever had a cord that didn't cut. And yeah, he's just so powerful to work with. That is amazing. See, it's so neat, when you're working in a Reiki session and you kind of get used to doing some of the same things and then something new comes up and then they show you like a new healing. It's super exciting. And it might just be this one time, or maybe you'll use it in other clients. It just depends on what they need in that day. So yeah, that is neat. During my Reiki sessions, I find that I will do like a quick scan of my client, of their aura before I even start the session. And sometimes I'll just like intuitively know that there's like a little cord here and there that just needs to be cut and sliced. Like it's not like a major cord from like an ex-husband or something. It could be a conversation at the coffee shop or the grocery store where there's like a tiny little wire, coming out from you to this person that just needs to be cut because it doesn't serve a purpose. So we need to get rid of it. So I have a selenite, like a big chunk of selenite, and I just wave it over the body, kind of like when you're in the airport and they have that wand, like a metal detector. That's what it feels like. And I also picture it like a magnet picking up like any debris or any like negative energy. I just picture it getting sucked into this piece of selenite. So that has been really awesome. It's almost like you're clearing the slate before you start the Reiki session too. So I really enjoy that. And I think I do it before Yeah, I have been doing it before every session. And it's funny because like I work on my teddy bear because I just do distance Reiki. And then I'll think, oh yeah, I got to do the back as well. Because I find cords that maybe you don't know about are the ones on your back. Like, you know, when somebody stabs you in the back, or one like you can't see your back. So it's like, well, that would be a good place for like a little sneaky cord to be hiding. So I remind myself to like scan the back as well, or like flip over the bear and give it a good scan. And when I was writing our notes for this, it was funny because my guides always like to show things in metaphors for me to explain things better. It's just the way they like to communicate with me. And yesterday I was planting potatoes, and you know how like potato seeds have those tubular things growing out of them, like the sprouts? Well, my guides were like showing me that the potato is the body, and all these tubes growing out of the potato are the cords, like these energetic cords. So if you needed a visual, it was like that was a really good visual, because you know you see the potato with all these weird things coming out of each end. And yeah, just I picture myself with that selenite just gliding over the body, the potato, slicing and dicing, just getting rid of all those cords that we no longer need. And like Doreen Virtue said, that these cords can cause physical ailments in the body too. Like, you know, when someone is giving you a physical pain in the neck, you could have a cord in the back of your neck that's actually causing you pain. So it's also good to just, yeah, of course, release the cord and be conscious about it. I do invite Archangel Michael in, like I said, with the big sword, like Amanda does. And then I also was shown to invite Archangel Raphael in. And he comes in because he's the healing angel, right? The emerald green light. And I ask him to send energy, healing energy to both parties involved. So if the cord's like, say, attached to someone's heart, and I can see that cord detaching and disappearing, it's almost like there's like an energetic wound in that person's heart where that cord used to be that needs some healing. So I always end with that hey, send healing energy to both parties involved. Even though like you may be really mad at this person or something happened, it's always good to send that healing energy back, I believe.
Yeah, no, I do that too, actually, with the green light at the end. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. I didn't mention it, but I think we were both taught that by Andrea. And
Oh,
I
is that weird?
always, yeah, do that green healing light too to send them after. And you know, it's interesting you say about that wand, because I don't even know what that crystal is. I think I gave you one, but it's
Yeah.
by my windowsill. And I think it's like a clear quartz, maybe. I've even actually given a couple away to clients because I've been like told to by spirit. And I take that and I would wand over them as well. But I always thought I was just kind of collecting, I don't know, like kind of collecting any of the other debris, if you will. But maybe I am kind of going over and cutting cords. I never really thought about it. But yeah, I don't know. I find that when that comes out, it's like, ooh, here we go.
Yeah,
And
here we
it's
go.
a big scan of the body. I was like, oh, we're taking out the big guns here with the crystal by the window. And yeah, just draking it over. That's funny. I haven't actually had to do that in a while, but when I feel called to grab it, I do. And
Yeah.
same, I like that a lot.
It's just a good, simple way I feel, to start a session. I really like doing that. I had a Reiki session with this one woman, and she did that with me, and I really loved it. And she was just like really intentional about it. And yeah, I was like, yeah, I like this. So
You know, also too about those cords coming in from the back. My Reiki master, who is going to certify me in teaching Yusai Reiki, she actually had that happen. She had like an arrow in her back, and she got her son to remove it. And just, you know, things kind of went awry. And anyway, she got her son to remove it, and she could like feel the difference. Like she could feel that he got it. And her
really,
son's kind of like, what? She's like, you can do it, honey. Pull it out from my back. And yeah, he did. And yeah, it's so important. Like, good thing, like she's super tuned in, obviously. She's very, very tuned in. So she could feel that. And yeah, just got rid of it.
yeah, it's funny because it's so crazy to think about because it's not a physical arrow that you can see, but it's still
Mhm.
causing disharmony in the body. And it's just so powerful to release it. I believe I've had some sessions too where I had, I had a knife taken out of my back. I can't remember why, but I remember it feeling different after.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about what happens when you cut the cords, but that person still keeps coming into your awareness, or you just feel like that didn't work. So first thing, you might have to be real with yourself and ask, am I the one who keeps feeding this cord energetically? Because that can be a thing. Like if you're still thinking about an ex, let's say, you want to ask yourself, like, okay, well, am I the one who's keeping this strong? And if you aren't, then I would keep practicing this exercise every time you notice it and becoming a thing, and then just cut them. Like do the exercise and cut the cords every time they come into your awareness. So for me personally, I have one person that keeps showing up in my field, and it seems like no matter how many times I have gone through this process, they somehow manage to keep coming in. And I truly believe that they keep attaching it. And I have to do regular maintenance on this. I do find it super annoying. Yes, I do. But I do feel like with time, this should naturally fade out as we have no contact ever. So I'm just hoping that, things will just kind of phase out. But in the meantime, I have to do this maintenance. And it doesn't matter. Like I can write it all out and burn it. Like I've done all the things. I've done the room exercise. I just call an Archangel Michael to cut them. Like I've done all the things, and I have to keep doing the things because they keep just all of a sudden whispering in. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, is this me? I'm like, this is not me. So yes, yes, keep doing the practice if you find this keeps coming up.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that with the cord reattaching. You think it's gone and then it creeps back in. So, yeah, I have a few things to share about this. I was dealing with a cord from a person like 14 years ago. Like, that's a long time, maybe even longer, like my early 20s. But yeah, he shows up in dream time actually. So that's when I know the cord is reattached because my dreams are always sharing and showing me things that I'm not aware during the day. So it's like, oh, okay, let's get Christy at nighttime. She'll remember this. And yeah, it's so crazy, this cord. And the dream that I had was like the last dream I had was I was going up an escalator and he was at the bottom. And there was this huge wire cable, like really, really thick. And it kept expanding as I was going farther away from him. And it wouldn't break. Like, when you pull a rope, it eventually, like, some stuff will, like, break if you keep yanking on it. But it was like it almost got stronger the farther we were apart. And I was like, okay, I need to do more healing on this. I've sat with this for so long, trying to disconnect this cord, and it just kept coming back. And like Amanda said, you do have to get real with yourself and dive deep and find the root cause of this cord. And yeah, the questions you have to ask, is it me unconsciously attaching this cord to this person, or is it them attaching it to me? And it was like, I felt like it was both ways. I felt like I would, and then he would. And it was interesting. The one time I sat with it, I was thinking about, okay, well, that point in my life when I was with him, I was like, what was going on in my life? And that was like my early 20s. That's like when I felt like the most attractive, just everything. Well, yeah, I was living a good time in my early 20s. It's not like I'm saying I'm not living a good time now, but you don't think about gray hair or your wrinkles or like like a little flab on my arm, because I felt like everything was great. So in a way, it was like I was mourning my youth in a way. Like, it's not like I'm old, like right now, but it was just, you kind of like have to let go of that part of your life and you'll never have that back. So that was a piece of this cord that was attaching to this person. But that didn't help. Like it did, but it didn't. I don't know if this is like making sense. You're coming
Nope.
down the rabbit hole with me,
It's
but
good. Keep going. I
yeah.
feel like
Oh,
so
okay.
many people can relate to this because you
Yeah.
really got to the root of it, of
Yes.
why. I feel like I'm even thinking about now that for myself. I'm like, like,
Yeah. It'd be important to go back and like see what was going on at that time in your life. Was there something that
yeah,
you really admire? Like, even I had one client where she had cords attaching to old boyfriends, and it was a time in her life when she had a lot of freedom. Like, she didn't have kids. So she was looking back at that time being like, oh, right, like I was free to do what I wanted. That's like a cord attaching to the past.
that's a good
So
one.
yeah. So not necessarily a person, but it's almost like, could you attach a cord to your past self maybe? Ooh, that's an interesting one.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
do feel like, it's almost like a grieving, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you've changed a lot
Yeah.
and you're kind of going through that grieving process of who that person was and the things going on in that time. Yeah, you'd almost need to cut your cords with that moment and even with yourself.
Yeah. That's
I
like a
like
whole
that.
nother layer.
Yeah. Ooh, what did we just unpack here?
Yeah. Yeah, that came out of left field.
Yeah, it's good though. I
Yeah.
definitely think you need to go through a grieving process when you're changing or you're going through a life change. Even, having kids, like all of a sudden you're this like whole new identity. You're a mom and you're in everything else. And it's just like, okay, yeah, you're not like having that freedom and that other person you were before, or your
Yeah.
priorities have changed. And yeah, you would need to almost cut your cords with that and just kind of love it and step into your fully new.
And move on. Yeah. I think that would be really powerful. And even like leaving a job of 16 years, looking back, maybe there's a cord I need to cut there as well. Like, it's been a year since I left, but of course I went through a grieving process of all of that, letting go of that part of my life, even though it had to happen. It's like I still think about the good times, of course, but maybe there is a cord that I need to cut there too.
Yeah, that wouldn't hurt to explore. And,
Yeah.
going back to your thing about coming up in dream state. So I was actually just listening to something about talking about how our dreams are like messages from our subconscious. So it's like
Mhm.
this is what is surfacing from the subconscious part of our body. So you do need to pay attention to your dreams. And even if they're super bizarre, but like pay attention to who's in them and why are they coming up. I would definitely cut my cords if like weird things like that were coming up or random people. I'm like, whoa. And you know what? It could be even that random person from high school. But maybe you still have a cord kind of left hanging and maybe do them the service and cut it. Maybe they would
Yeah.
appreciate that too and they don't even know.
That's right. Dreams are so powerful. And I did hear somebody, I don't know if it was on Instagram, I forget where I heard this, but they were talking about an or your subconscious is just dumping in your dreams. Like, when you wake up and you have like the most random dreams. Like, my one coworker was talking about, she always dreams about like Tony the tiger and like planting tomatoes, like just like the most weirdest shit. And it's like, it almost seems like your subconscious saw that throughout the day and it just needed to dump it. So it's important to realize when dreams are really metaphorical, symbolical, and there's a message there. And then there's a time when your subconscious is just doing a garbage disposal, like just throwing the trash out, clearing it out.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I've definitely had, yeah, stupid dreams like that. And you're like, whatever. Funny,
Oh
funny.
yeah, and then she went into one about her husband, and it was really like dark and twisty. And I was sitting there and I was just deciphering this whole dream, and I was like, okay, so you got things with this, and that. Like, I was just going through the whole but she was just sharing. Like, it wasn't a time where she'd be like, so what do you think about that dream? I wasn't gonna like be like, oh my god, have you thought about this? Yeah, that wasn't the time or place. But I love when people share dreams with me. I just
Me
love it.
too. Me too. I can just see you, Christy, like almost pulling out your witch hat and then be like,
Yeah.
no,
No, put it
put your
back.
hat away.
Not the diaper, please.
Yeah.
But she's pretty open. She's a cool chick. I feel like we'll have that conversation one day. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll be there when she's ready.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, okay, back to this cord with this person from like 14, 16 years ago.
Mm.
My hunch with this is that when the cord cutting doesn't work and getting to this root cause and like doing all this deep dive, I feel like we almost had past lives together, and that can create a whole can of worms. And we can even go deeper into unconscious contracts that you can make with a person. And this is Akashic record work where you can actually go in and see different contracts that were made with different people. And there's different types. It's super interesting. I'd love to dive more into it.
I'm glad you
Okay.
brought this up, actually. The Akashics, that is a huge thing. So yeah, let's say, you keep cutting your cords and you keep cutting them, but you're right. This could be like a contract, something in the Akashics that you've had from many lifetimes ago that
Yeah.
is kind of bleeding through that may need to be cleaned up in the Akashics, which we've both done during Reiki. We've gone
Yes.
in there and actually rewrote a new story or a new thing in the book to just cut those cords and be done with that.
Yep.
And I do
Yeah.
feel like if that's being called, you are supposed to clean this up. If that's being called to you right now, you've come back to clean that up. I truly believe that.
Yes. There's a reason, a big reason to get rid of that energy. Like, you don't need it. It's not serving anything. And at this point, like, that's how I feel about this contract with this person. Like, I had lots of good times with this person, but like, we both moved on. Like, I'm married, he's married. Like, it's like that, like, door has shut, right? Like, I don't have any feelings towards him. It's just like, why do I keep thinking about that person? So that's where I went down this whole rabbit hole. But yeah, in the Akashics, like, you can have different types of these unconscious negative contracts. Like, there's one that you can have a healing contract where you make a contract to heal someone, or they're going to heal you, and you don't even really know what's going on. And that can affect your well-being and their well-being as well. Like, you might not be able to heal something because there's this whole contract going on. But yeah. And of course there's the soulmate contract, where you both have like a mutual agreement to be soulmates, and like overcome everything no matter what. So you can attract like all this crappy things into your relationship because you both agreed that you will overcome it all. And sometimes that's not the way it works out. Or there's also like a one-sided contract where, so say the other person ducked out of the contract, the soulmate contract, and you are still left there. So this can happen when someone is like chronically single and can't find love. It's because there's still this unconscious contract that you're still a part of, but the other person isn't, if that makes sense. And maybe this person could actually get married, but then they always feel alone. Maybe their partner's off working, or they're just not connecting. So it's crazy to think about these types of things in your Akashic records that can really affect your life and the way things happen. So yeah, I thought that was interesting. I wanted to share that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We should do a whole episode on the Akashics.
Yeah, we really should. I'd love to.
Lots going on in that library.
Oh yeah. Almost like that need to be a series.
Yeah. So these are some questions that we actually got when we were doing our anniversary episodes about cords, and we just wanted to quickly go through them now. So the first one is, am I able to cut the cords myself, or do I need a Reiki practitioner or an energy healer to help me? So like we've kind of addressed, you can definitely do this yourself. If you find that this isn't working, or you tried it numerous times, maybe there might be deeper Akashic work to be done, or get an energy healer to kind of help just to clear everything out. Maybe it is, like Christy said, like the root thing. It's not actually that person, but it's the environment that person kind of was at that time.
Yeah. Or even going into that room that you described, like going into the chakra. I feel like that is super powerful. And for a lot of, I don't know if I want to call them like mainstream cords, I find that would be super powerful. And I just wanted to share, like, if I was kind of all over the map with how I cut cords, but I just wanted to just quickly share, like, from top to bottom what I would do. So I would get grounded and, like, be in the present moment, just take a couple deep breaths. And then I would picture where the cord may be attached. This isn't important. You don't have to. And then I would call on Archangel Michael, be like, hey, Archangel Michael, please come in with your sword and please cut the cord attached to this person. Or please cut the cord attached to the people I made today that is no longer serving me of the highest vibration, yada, yada. Or like whatever you feel like you want to do. And then I'm very visual, so I see him cutting this cord with his sword, like coming through and just slicing it. And I can watch the cord come apart. And then at that time, once that's done, call on Archangel Raphael, please bring healing to both parties involved. And then, of course, I thank them for their time. And then I move on.
Yeah, I should actually say what I say too. That's really good.
I want to hear.
I do those same steps, and then I call upon Archangel Michael and I say, "Please help me cut my cords with everyone I have dealt with today, directly or indirectly, and energetically." And then that's what I say. I say those three things, and then I picture him cutting my cords. And it's funny. I almost feel like he goes in like this big, like almost around my whole aura, does like a sweep, just like cuts all these cords like around in a circle. And I do that 3 times. I was told 3 times. But yeah, that's what I say. Directly or indirectly or energetically. Cut all the cords. So anyone thinking about me, any direct contact, cut it all.
Yeah, I feel like that covers all your bases too. And to do it 3 times, yeah, I like that. That feels powerful.
And then the Archangel Raphael at the end. Yes, I do. I send all those people the green healing light. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that is awesome. And it is good to say directly or indirectly, because maybe I have a cord in my back that I didn't know was from my coworker, and I'm just calling in Archangel Michael to just cut this one cord. He's not going to cut the other cord just for free or for good measure, you know, like when you set the intention just to cut one cord. So yeah, I really like that. Okay, so on to the next one. How do I know if I have an energetic cord attached to someone or something?
I think like you said, if they're showing up in your dreams or they're just randomly appearing in your thoughts, it's like those could be indicators, especially if you have no rhyme or reason to think of them. I would say good. I'd probably cut cords.
Yeah, if you're like having a shower and nothing even triggers a memory, like a song or anything, and then they pop into your mind, I would really listen to that. I think that is a true sign that there's something there to be visited. Yeah.
How do I know if the cord is cut?
You stop thinking of that person. Like they're not showing up in your dream. Maybe you have more energy. Like if it was a really crazy cord, I guess you could say, that was siphoning your energy. Maybe like, I feel like it would be subtle though.
Sometimes it'll be like a couple days, it'll go by and then I'll be like, hey, I haven't thought about that person anymore. And then I'm like, don't reattach it. Don't reattach.
Don't reattach.
It almost freaks me out. But yeah, you'll know. You'll feel better. You'll feel more energized too, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's a subtle shift, but a big enough shift to notice.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. And the next one is there a way to prevent cords from attaching?
Well, I like to call upon Archangel Michael for protection. And if anyone listened to our episode with Rhonda, that's something that she does. So she pictures the rainbow shield around her. But you have to do that daily. Every day, if you're in a rough situation, call it in again. And that's personally what I would do. I don't think anyone is ever going to be exempt from cords, unfortunately.
No, I think that's just part of being human. And part of our experience here on Earth is that's just the way it's going to go. And I don't want anybody to go into a panic, be like, oh my God, I need to cut all these cords. I have all these cords everywhere. You know, it's like, just start small. Like if somebody's in your awareness, just take one person at a time, or like Amanda said, do it directly or indirectly. Just, I guess, however you want to do it. I would play around with it. I don't believe that there's anything wrong you could do in this situation.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. You can't get it wrong.
No. All right. Well, I think that wraps up our cord conversation today.
Yeah. If anyone had a question that we didn't cover, I mean, send us a message on Instagram. We'll answer it for sure. Or we'll give you our opinion. Well, that's really what we're going to do.
Yes.
What we think. It might not be the right answer, but it's what we think. So
yeah, from our experience.
And now we'll grace you with our card pull.
Card pull, yes. Ooh, what deck am I going to use here? Okay, hold on. I just need to get grounded first.
Yes. Hopefully it's not release.
Yeah, no doubt. And throw that card in the garbage. Got done. Here's releasing for you.
Yeah, I'll release you right into the trash.
Amanda has pulled this card, 4 times now?
So many. Even again, when I was waiting for you to hop on, I was like, oh, I'll shuffle these cards. And I was like, what? Like, God, I obviously need some cord cutting going on here.
Yeah, maybe.
Rick. Totally. That's exactly what it is.
Great way to release.
Odd.
Oh, that's so funny. I put this card back in the... Oh, my goodness. Okay, these are the 2 same cards from my last card pull I did.
Oh, funny. See if
Isn't that weird?
All right. Who's listening? Who needs to hear this again?
Yeah.
Is there a different message, or do you think it's the same one?
Oh, this is weird. Okay, let's just roll with this here. Invited my guides in for some clarity. So it's emotions are running high. Supermoon. So funny this happened. And it's weird because like the picture of the moon on this card almost looks like the potato I was talking about and the sprouts that are sprouting out. Okay, so hold on here. What's coming through? I just feel give yourself grace and ease when emotions are running high and you feel like there is no way out at that time. It's almost like you need to walk away from the situation, like Amanda talked about, for some clarity. You know, when you take a walk or you ground yourself, or even if you sleep on something and you look at something with fresh eyes, you will see something new. Maybe something, you'll appreciate something, you'll be more grateful for something, or you'll own up to something that maybe you were being like, oh, you know what? I actually was in the wrong in this situation. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I said that because I felt triggered and this triggered something from my past and the way I was treated, yada, yada, you know, that type of thing. So it's just like a lot of self-reflection, I feel, with this card. And the next card is the 6 of water. So it's the goose. And then there's 2 baby geese here. What does this one says, the love and care of children could become an important part of your life, or people from your childhood may return to it. Old memories can be healed, or possibly old childhood dreams are ready to be revived. That's so funny. Because I was just thinking about yesterday when I was playing with my friends' kids, because I don't have kids of my own, and how that really fills my cup up. You know, I get my fill of being around kids and their playful energy, and then I go home and I go back to my life. And that's something that I have found peace with. But this isn't about me. This is about the listeners. So this actually goes back to cord cutting. And it's almost like when we talked about looking back at a certain part of your life that you really enjoyed, or somewhere that you were really happy. And it's important to look back and take what happened at that part of your life, like take the good, and it's almost like a souvenir that you'll put on your shelf. Like you're not going to go back and visit that physical space, but you have a souvenir from that time in your life, and you can go back, take a look at, oh yeah, that was fun. Okay, then move on. So it's not, just don't live in the past is I guess what the message is coming through for that. And then the next card is strength and guidance. And strength and guidance. Oh my goodness. Strength and guidance. There we go. This actually looks like Archangel Michael in this picture. And it's just reminding us of how powerful we are and how powerful our intentions are. So when we have an intention to cut a cord with someone, don't ever sit there and wonder, is this going to work? I don't know if this is going to work. Do I believe in this? And just doubt it all, because when you doubt your own strength, that is when, I don't want to say it, but it's not going to, the end result isn't going to be as good as if you had full faith in this practice. So of course, like I'm not saying just believe that everything we said is going to work, because you can take what resonates with you and create your own practice. How does this look to you? How are you going to sit with your cords? How are you going to feel them coming in? And how are you going to cut them? So the angels are actually coming in and they're just saying that take what we said as guidance, but then put your own spin on it. So yeah, I just feel like that's really important, to put your own spice on things. So yeah, in the podcast here, like we're here to share our stories and our experiences, hoping that you can relate to us, or it sparks something within you, but it's also like come up with your own stuff as well. So we're kind of here to like plant the seed, and then you can kind of fill in the blanks and find your own groove. So, and we're always here. Like I'm not saying don't ask us questions or have a conversation or anything. It's just that we are powerful, and when we set that intention and we have the strength to do it, that's when I guess I lost it. I guess that is where the magic lies, I guess, is the last message there. Okay. Yeah, I think I got that. That was a little rough, but I think it came out. Did that make sense?
There was a couple times in there, Christy, I wanted to finish your sentence. It was
really?
just like I was feeling exactly what you were going to say. Yeah, even that last one there. And then I was like, don't interrupt. I was like, don't break her flow.
Are you attaching a cord to me right now?
I thought that was so good, especially the second card there. I thought, oh my God, that's just exactly perfect. Those memories coming up and in the dream state.
Yes.
So yes. And you know what? You are your own guru. We all are. So exactly. I take things that I like from others, and then you just kind of all of a sudden just like tweak things and make it your own. And, you know, if you have a cool way to cut cords that we should know about, like, hey, let us know. And maybe we'll take something from it.
I would love to know that. Yeah, because all I know is Archangel Michael. So yeah, if somebody cuts cords a different way, I would totally invite that in.
Yes, exactly. We're all better together. So,
that's right.
Yes. With that being said, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on Instagram. Our handle is Living the Reiki Life for the podcast. And I'm at Reiki with Manda. If you want to follow me there and book an appointment, go ahead.
And I'm at the Birch Soul. And yeah, we both have online booking, or you can connect with us and give us a follow or a chat, or whatever you feel drawn to. So thanks so much for spending this hour with us, and we hope you learned something new.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
1, 2,